Hi, folks. Welcome back to the Good Life Approach podcast. My name is Donna Martin, your host and founder. And in this week's episode, I'm going to be telling you, teaching you, showing you how I actually manifested my husband, the tips, the tools, to the actual things that I implemented in my world to make it happen. So, as always, before we dive in, this podcast is your invitation, inviting you to get curious about yourself, your life, and the world that you currently live in. So, let's dive in. How I actually manifested my husband Lee. So we've been married 11 years. We're together by 14. We have three gorgeous boys, Ollie, Leo, and Louis. And this particular podcast stemmed from a conversation I had with beautiful school mummies actually this morning. And I was that inspired. It was just like, oh my God, actually, you forget sometimes, because I'm in the manifesting space over 20 years, I sometimes forget that these things that I class as basic tools that I always apply and implement, that sometimes people aren't aware of them. And the conversation was something around, actually, I manifested the wrong type of person. I forgot to write down the negative, or I didn't want to write the negative stuff because I didn't want to call that in that awareness of manifestation. And so what was done is you're leaving that empty undercurrent. You're kind of going, I do want this, but I don't want this, but I don't want to say I don't want it in case I call it in. Is this making sense? Because this is how manifesting goes. We're always turned on, we're always lit, we're always ignited, we're always magnetizing and manifesting. But the thing is, it's whether you're aware that you're in the default cycle of manifesting unintentionally things that you don't want, or whether it's you're in the intentional manifesting. And in that, it's being aware that there's certain ways to do things. And just because you're calling out something that you class as negative or that you don't want, that doesn't mean that it's instantaneously going to happen. And I think this is a misconception that can happen a lot in manifestation. It's when you begin understanding from your core foundations that the baseline of your energy, it's that overarching picture of your good life. You begin with this simple exercise. This is what I done to call in my husband Lee. I had been so frustrated, been in so many horrible relationships, bounced back and forth, repeating the same patterns with a different head on a different person. It was just the same type of person, the same type of experience, but just a different head on the body. And you can probably relate to this. So what I done and what I recommended this morning was grab a pen, a bit of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on the left, give yourself permission to look at past relationships, not out of criticism or judgment, but just neutral, and just ask yourself, what out of that did I not enjoy? What out of that really sucked the life out of me? What out of that really didn't make me feel good, or I didn't enjoy that experience, or that wasn't good, or it was toxic, or it was unhealthy? Whatever you resonate with, because this is your life, this is what you're calling in, your energy. Write all that down. I tell clients, vomit it out onto the page. Just get everything down to the left-hand side of the page, because you're not stuffing it down, you're not ignoring it. It's not toxic positivity where you have to be happy. And again, another misconception about manifesting. You cannot do what I call a double binding message when you're trying to be in one energy, but the underlying energy is something different. So if you're trying to call in a love and respectful partner, but the underlying current is that, oh, but I've had this in the past and I haven't brought it up to the surface, I haven't released that stagnant energy within me. How can you allow that room energetically? Because we're energetic beings, we're made of energy. Science, quantum physics backs us up. How can you, in your energetic field, that magnetism, manifesting, making it real, calling it in, attracting it, whatever you want to call it, you cannot call in exactly what you want through ignoring what you don't want and pretending that it'll go away. So write everything on the left-hand side that you do not want to experience. Look at it. You don't have to get sucked back into the vortex. And simply on the other side, choose. Choose you. Choose again. Choose. If this was my experience I wasn't in a loving relationship. I was in a toxic relationship. I was in a relationship that was disrespectful. I was, whatever it was, I am in a loving relationship. I am in a respectful relationship. I am in a relationship with someone that has, for me, I wrote down, I wanted somebody that had similar interests to me, similar hobbies, that enjoyed similar things to me, that had, for me, being Irish, I didn't call in another Irish person, but what I did call him was somebody that had similarities and backgrounds in awareness in that upbringing, so that our future kids, and I also wrote that down, I wanted somebody that wanted kids pretty soon, because I was in my 30s, and for me, I felt at that stage that my clock might have been ticking. So it's, when you're putting elements in for you, you have to do what's right for you. But even down to things like, they enjoy going on this type of holidays. They want to live in the same country as me. They want to live in the same space. They don't necessarily have to be from that country. But at the time when I met Lee, we were both Irish. We met up the east coast of Australia in a wee small town called Early Beach in a hostel. He was from the south of Ireland. I was from the north of Ireland. We'd been to loads of different events, and never our paths had crossed until this time when they were aligned. But I had wrote down, I wanted somebody that was ready to have kids now, that was in a space that they were happy to stay in Australia, or that they loved the Australian life. Because I didn't want to be with somebody then that wanted to go back to Ireland and stay there if I wanted to stay, or vice versa. And so we did, as a couple, move back to Ireland consciously, intentionally. And then as a couple, we soon realized that intentionally it wasn't the right space again. So as a couple, we grew, we evolved, and we made the decision to move back with our 3 boys. So for you, it's asking yourself, what is aligned with you? Do you want someone that prioritizes family or relationships over work? Have you been with somebody that works constantly and you've never felt seen or heard? Do you want someone that's respectful, that sees you, that is affectionate? Go right down to somebody that's tactile. Do you want somebody that's romantic? Do you want somebody that, whatever it is, I want you to think broader in your scheme of personalities. And a really good way to do that is look at your past relationships from a neutral point of view, because when you do that, you can then look and go, these are all the things that did not bring me joy. So amazing, because these are now elements that I can use and transform and convert over to what I actually do want. The universe, manifestation, the energetic space that we create from to manifest intentionally, happens when you create it. It happens when you have clarity. This is part of the process. It's part of the tools that I use to manifest my husband in a hostel in the East Coast. We're still together 3 boys later. Sydney to Ireland, back to Perth, all similar lines, because it's what I call them. So I hope this makes sense for you. This is just a small snippet of it, but I want you to try this exercise. If you're looking to manifest someone in your life, that partner, give this a go. Let me know your thoughts. Share it with somebody else who's looking to create the life they want. My name is Donna Martin. And remember, your greatest asset is your ability to be yourself. So in that knowing, what do you choose for you today? I'll leave you on that, folks. Thanks very much.